This is 7 National News. In our top story, His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan bin Mohammed Al Qasimi, the ruler of Sharjah, has issued instructions to increase the minimum monthly salary of government employees to 11,000 dirhams. According to local reports, the move is part of 3 initiatives launched by the Emirates leader to provide a stable and decent life to Emiratis. As part of the plans, His Highness Dr. Sheikh Sultan ordered the allocation of 70 million dirhams to cover pay increases in a move to ensure both employees and retirees enjoy a dignified life. The second initiative states that retirees from Sharjah government will be paid a minimum payment of 11,000 dirhams instead of the previous payment of 10,000 dirhams. The third initiative provides for the integration of an additional transport allowance, which is given to employees into the total salary. A total of 600,000 families will benefit from this gesture. His Highness Sheikh Abdulaziz bin Humaid Al Nuwaimi, chairman of Ajman Tourism Development Department, has highlighted the importance of promotional campaigns in increasing awareness about tourist and cultural services and products in Ajman in a bid to enhance the Emirates' image regionally and internationally. During a meeting with the ATDD Tourism Development and Marketing team, His Highness Sheikh Abdulaziz said that ATDD's planned participation in a number of international tourism exhibitions every year supports efforts to achieve Ajman government's strategic goals. According to the Ajman Vision 2021, ATDD has to achieve a number of goals, at the top of which is enhancing the image of Ajman as a distinguished tourism destination. According to Emirates news agency WAM, statistics showed that the number of European visitors to the Emirate in 2014 was 100,000. Just over 1,000 forged travel documents were discovered at Dubai International Airport last year. Officials from the General Directorate for Residency and Foreigners Affairs in Dubai have stated that the Directorate is sparing no effort when it comes to ensuring the UAE's security, using the latest technology and upholding international standards at Dubai Airport in a bid to detect even the most proficiently forged passports. In 2014, approximately 48,000 suspicious travel documents were inspected at Dubai International Airport. Of the fake documents caught last year, 818 were forged, 24 were altered, and 185 were documents used by someone other than the original owner. Meanwhile, those who attempt to enter the UAE using forged passports will be sent back immediately to the country from which they travelled. Schools in the UAE need to do more to include special needs children in their classrooms and provide adequate training for teachers to cater for their additional requirements. That's according to experts from UAE-based consultancy firm EBDA. At a press conference today, education and training experts from EBDA stated that the education authorities, institutions and parents should collaborate together and produce a large-scale culture change in the country to rid the misconceptions surrounding the support for children with special needs. It was announced that they will be hosting a conference this weekend to share best practices with education professionals by offering specialist support at schools for students with dyslexia, autism and ADHD. Quoting the UAE Minister of Education's statement that the level of treatment offered is a measure of our humanity, EBDA's Director of Education and Training stated that the educational authorities in the country are striving towards producing the change. However, he added that private schools should ensure more equal opportunities. In order to produce the change, advocacy at the ministerial level, right training for the teachers and support for the parents is necessary to address these current challenges.
Sometimes it's a description of what needs to be in place. So that's very helpful if ministries and government departments can provide really clear definitions of what is required, and then to provide some illustrations of what that might look like in practice. So providing that support is the first thing, so people know what it is, what the rules are that they're working towards, and then offering support and inspection monitoring processes to make sure that's being implemented, and where there are difficulties to be able to unpick those difficulties and offer additional support. And so that's always already happening. So the inspection services are providing more guidance on that. So the documentation they produce each year, this is what we're going to be looking at, this is what we need to see evidence of, and then at the end of the year producing their overall report which says this is a summary of our findings, and therefore these are the things which need to be addressed next year. And that's very helpful for school leaders, principals and heads to be able to say, okay, so we understand what's happening and we can see this is an area that we need to address ourselves, but we need support in order to do that.
Meanwhile, EBDA's psychology specialist said that environmental factors such as poor diet and hyperactivity can contribute towards the further development of autism spectrum disorders. Dr. Madeline Portwood stated that 20 years ago it was believed that 1 in 1,500 children had ASD. That figure has grown to 1 in 63. According to Dr. Portwood, early intervention is vital for identifying the symptoms, and parents should ensure appropriate nutrition coupled with more opportunities for their child to develop naturally from a young age.
We know that there are factors within families, so there are predispositions perhaps for autism spectrum disorder. If there is any possibility that that is the case, then the mother during pregnancy needs to make sure that the environmental factors are secure. So her diet is important. She needs to be eating lots of oily fish, good vegetables, good nutrition, but also when the child is born, we need to give them all of the advantages and the requisites of early development. So they need to be encouraged to go through the expected stages of movement and coordination. They need to be given opportunities to develop language skills. And if we can put everything in place, then we are going to enable the children to do as well as they can. If we improve the connectivity in the brain, which is achieved through developing movement skills, having a good diet, then we improve every aspect of brain functioning. And in addition to the physical aspects, the mental aspects are also very important, that we use languages, we encourage young children to use shape sorters, jigsaws, anything that's going to build on the creative process. And it's essential to put these in the early years wherever possible.
The total value of zakat distributed according to Islamic principles on behalf of minors and other categories by the Awqaf and Minors Affairs Foundation has amounted to over 6 million dirhams in 2014. According to a statement released by the foundation, the money was accumulated from cash, shares, bonds and property investments that belong to minors within AMAF's care. The foundation currently has 2,001 minors under its care that are mandated to pay zakat according to Islamic Sharia, while the total value of zakat in cash registered just at over 2.3 million dirhams. The value of zakat raised through properties and investments was over 3.8 million dirhams. Khalid Al-Thani, Deputy Secretary General of AMAF, said that as the foundation is the only entity responsible for minors in Dubai, it pays special attention to preserving and managing the finances of those in similar circumstances and categories. AMAF also works to develop the capabilities of minors to help them become productive members of their communities. In the list of top 30 institutions, 3 UAE universities have made it into the First Times Higher Education rankings for the MENA region. According to a report published by a local daily on the global rankings to be released next year, UAE University was ranked in 11th place, American University of Sharjah at 17th, and the Petroleum Institute in Abu Dhabi at 20th. According to the editor of the THE World University Rankings, Phil Beatty, this pilot ranking is highly significant as it allows for an opportunity to look at what range of performance indicators are needed to properly assess universities in the MENA region. The THE World University Rankings, which has been published annually for more than a decade, uses 13 separate performance indicators to judge institutions across the full range of activities: teaching, research, knowledge transfer, and international outlook. 11 countries are featured in the MENA Top 30 list, which the editor says shows that no single country is dominant in the field of research. For the UAE, Beatty says that having 3 spots in the list is significant and shows research is an area in which the Emirates is developing quickly. Finally, this evening, Dubai's art season is just around the corner as Art Week returns to the Emirate for its 4th year. Supported by Dubai Culture Arts Authority and Emaar Properties, the week-long celebrations, focusing primarily on the UAE's thriving art scene, will be running from the 14th till the 24th of March. During a press conference today, the program of events were revealed and includes Art Dubai, which is the world's largest annual showcase of artists from the Arab world, showcasing more than 500 artists from the UAE and abroad. Meanwhile, Dubai Design Days is also welcoming its largest and most diverse exhibitor list in 2015. According to representatives, large-scale sculptures and conceptual installations will be just some of the highlights of the collectible design fair.
It helps because you have local talents mingling together with international talents, so they see what the other countries are doing, what the level of quality and production is, and then by comparison you definitely want to do better each time. And you saw it every year for the last 3 years that each year the local product we're going into a nicer and a bigger production. So we're very pleased by the quality of what we're showcasing this year as well.
Art Week has established Dubai as a meeting point for the global art scene, where Dubai's artists, galleries and cultural institutions can build international audiences and patrons. Meanwhile, the packed program of events also includes Sika Art Fair, the IFC Art Night, Galleries Night in Al Quds and the D3's Design Weekend. To find out more about the activities taking place, visitors can log on to artweek.ae or search the various social media channels.